Hi there, and thank you for your interest in Mission Control. In this video, we're going to take a high-level look at all of the key features that Mission Control has to offer. So Mission Control is a project management solution that has been built natively on the Salesforce platform. So there's a number of benefits to using a native application. So the way you can customize Salesforce, you can also customize Mission Control. So that means you can add in your own custom fields, you can modify page layouts, you can build out your own business logic with things like validation rules, workflow rules, and so on. Some additional benefits of using a native application are that all of your reporting and dashboard requirements can be done using the standard Salesforce reporting and dashboard tools. You can also access your mission control data via the Salesforce mobile app. Being native, there is no integration required because all of your data from mission control sits inside your Salesforce org. A great benefit of Mission Control is you can be up and running really quickly. So it takes about 2 minutes to install from the App Exchange, and there's about 5 minutes worth of setup. So you can be up and running and creating projects in a matter of minutes. And again, being native to the platform means it's a familiar interface to anyone that's already using Salesforce. And we do support both Salesforce Classic and Lightning Experience. So Mission Control can be added onto any of the following Salesforce license types. So if a user has one of these licenses, you can add Mission Control on top of that and provide them with access to all of the Mission Control functionality. Okay, so here we're just going to take a really quick overview of the full feature set, and then we'll dive in and take a look at some of the pages in more detail. So from a resource management perspective, you can keep a track of all of the individual resources that are being assigned work. You can track all of the billing rates and cost rates that you're assigning to each resource. You can group those people into various teams. You can also keep a skills matrix of each person as well. So being able to filter down and find what attributes has each person got, how proficient are they at those, and so on. So the scheduler and resource assignment wizard, these are features that give you the ability to manage your resource capacity planning. Along with other features like the reassignment wizard, where you can mass transfer work. The role utilization will allow you to see how well each resource is being utilized against their weekly target, their billable targets, and so on. And you do also have the ability to track holidays there as well. So from a project management perspective, there's a number of ways of generating a new project. You can automatically generate a new project directly from an opportunity. So let's say when you close win an opportunity, a new project can automatically be spun up. You can also have people submit project requests, or you can clone projects as well based on templates. So from a management perspective, Mission Control supports both Agile and Waterfall methodologies. There's a project overview that gives you a 360-degree insight into how the project's performing. There's a number of productivity tools, so things like the Kanban Whiteboard allows you to drag and drop your actions from one column to the next. The Gantt Chart gives you the ability to visualize the overall timeline of the project, as well as diving into things like critical path dependencies and baselines. So you've also got the ability to keep a track of any risks and issues you're concerned about. And the PMO dashboard gives you a high-level summary of how your projects are performing to budget and schedule. Project stakeholders, you've got the ability to identify who those stakeholders are, and you've also got the ability to issue out a weekly status report to them. So from a time tracking perspective, we try to put the ability to log time from wherever the user is working. So you'll find multiple ways of logging time in the system. You can keep a record of both your billable and non-billable hours, so you're getting full utilization visibility. You can use a start-stop time tracker. You can submit a weekly timesheet. We also have the ability to submit timesheets for approvals, and you can also convert your Salesforce events into time logs against your projects. And then from a financial perspective, so obviously tracking the billing rates that we're charging our customer, the cost rates that we're incurring. So you get full revenue cost and full P&L visibility throughout the project. If you are working with subcontractors, you have the ability to keep a track of purchase orders. You can also submit expenses relating them back to both the project and the purchase order. And again, those expenses can go through approvals. And then you also have the ability to raise invoices against the project, issuing out PDFs to the customer, and then recording payments back in as well. So all of that also provides you with full revenue recognition. And if you are using multi-currency within Salesforce, Mission Control will also support that. So then sitting above the project, we have the program layer. So from a program management perspective, we have the program planner. So this is a feature that lets you build out a long-term roadmap of requirements and user stories that are going to be delivered across a series of projects. Those requirements and user stories can be managed in a backlog and allocated through to assigned to specific projects. You can also use the storyboard to map out the journey of those user stories. And then using that project builder, you can convert those requirements and user stories into deliverable actions on the project. So from a collaboration perspective, being built natively on the Salesforce platform, you can use chatter right throughout the system. We also have a meeting manager feature which allows you to keep a track of regular meetings you're having with a project team, who was in attendance, what was discussed, what was on the agenda, and any action items that came out of that. Again, native functionality, you can store files relating to your projects using the Salesforce Files feature. And as I mentioned, that status report, you've got the ability to email that out to your stakeholders. And then summary of productivity tools, obviously the Kanban Whiteboard is a key tool to allow you to do a lot of functionality like logging time, updating progress, collaborating with colleagues. And you can also do that on things like the action pad, issue log, and risk log. Okay, so what are we going to take a look at in this demo video? So obviously, what I'm not looking to give you a full detailed demonstration of every single feature. We're really just picking out some of the key things that most people might be interested in. So we're going to take a look at all of these different options here. So let's jump in and take a look. Okay, so we're going to start by just taking a look at the console. So the console really just acts as a gateway through to the rest of the system. So you'll see it's broken up into these 4 pads here. So I've got my launch pad. So that's all about creating something new. So I can quickly create new projects. I can clone from templates, new programs, roles, and so on. The progress pad gives me access to all of the key tools that allow me to record progress somewhere on a project. So my Kanban whiteboard or my timesheet. Do I need to log expenses? Do I want to use the action pad, issue log, risk log? The management pad is where I can go to see higher level information. So do I want to jump into a project overview? Do I want to look at the roadmap for a specific program that I'm running, or Gantt chart, scheduler, and so on? And then the control pad gives us access to a number of settings that we can configure within the system. So for example, the daily digest, this is an email that can go out on a daily basis to each individual resource. So if we want to activate that, it's just a case of ticking the box, setting the time that we would like that to go out, and clicking save. So there's a number of different settings that you can control here. Over on the right, you also have this trackpad, which is also available on the project overview as well. So this just gives you access to a number of utility tools. So timeline really just shows you what's going on key projects. I've got the ability to log time, log expenses, add actions, risks, and issues. So I can collapse that out of the way if I don't need it. Okay, so what we're going to do here is just jump over to an opportunity and look at how we can quickly auto-generate a new project. So I've got this project where I'm trying to sell mission control to this customer. If I scroll down, I've got a few different products. I'm selling some licenses and some professional services. So when I close win this opportunity, I've specified here that I want to use this project as a template. I've set the start date, and ultimately, when I tick this box, it's going to go off and create a project for me. So I've got that set up to where when I mark my opportunity as closed won, just click on save. So that ticks the box to generate the project, and then over on the right hand side, you'll see that we've automatically generated that project based on that template that we specified. So we can click through to that and start working on that project. So I'm just going to jump into another project here where we've got a bit more detail. This project's already underway. So this is an example where I'm implementing Salesforce for this customer. So what we're going to do here is just walk through the features of the project overview. So underneath my overview, I have a set of sub-tabs here, and I can control which of these each individual person sees. So for example, if you decide you're not going to do any billing from Mission Control, you can easily hide that, or you could hide risks and issues from specific users. So my overview gives me access to the full work breakdown structure. So what I can see here are my milestones. So I've chosen to break this project into solution architecture, functional configuration, and so on. Now I can drill into each one of these and then get down to my actions. So I think of the milestone as a phase within the project, and then these are all of the deliverables that we're going to be working on in order to deliver this phase. And then underneath one of these actions, you can actually build out what we call checklists. So ultimately, the framework of our project is a project, followed by a milestone, followed by an action, followed by a checklist item. Just clicking through some of these other functions here. So the insights really just gives me a high-level overview of a bit of a snapshot of where the project's at. So I can see overall budget, what's been completed, do I have anything overdue, any risks, who the owner is, and then high-level metrics around how we're performing against budget, hours, profit and loss, and invoicing. Clicking through onto things like the action pad, I can see a summary, some summary charts, but then I can get down into the details. So this is really just giving me a working list of everything that needs to be delivered, and we can tick these off as well as logging time and raising issues and so on. The time logs gives me a burn down chart. So the two things this shows me is the blue line shows me the ideal delivery effort, the purple line shows me the actual. So it gives me an indication of whether we're burning through those hours quicker or slower than we thought we would. I can also see how many hours have been scheduled, what's been done so far, what's left to do, and then I can also see a backlog, a timeline of what has actually already been delivered. So quickly clicking through, I can also see here that we've logged some expenses. So I can see each individual expense, who it was incurred by, the amounts, what categories, and whether they've been approved, and then just some summary charts here. Similar to that, we've also got the risk log. So this gives us insight into any risks that we're concerned about on the project. So I can see my risk matrix, and we're evaluating risks on both probability and impact. So obviously anything sitting down in this section, we might not be too concerned about, but something sitting up here is certainly something we want to keep our eye on. And we can scroll down and get into the detail of each individual risk here. Risks can also be created into issues, and you can obviously also create issues directly. For example, if you're doing testing as part of a deliverable, you can be recording bugs and so on. So again, charts at the top, and then the list of issues down the bottom. So I mentioned earlier, you've also got the ability to generate invoices within Mission Control. So there's a number of ways of doing that. And this is just an example where I've raised an invoice for this customer. So if I drill into that, you can see that it's for the completion of a particular phase of the project. And I can also see that we've received that payment as well. We're going to cover off the whiteboarding in a moment. Just take a quick look at the Gantt chart. So I can view the Gantt chart for this individual project. So you'll see what I'm looking at is my project, my milestone, my actions, and my checklists. So we can you can support dependencies in here as well. So for example, if we drag and drop one action, then anything that is a successor of that will automatically be rescheduled by the same period of time. You can also do a comparison between your actual dates and your baseline. So if I just turn on my baseline, I'll see what my original timeline looked like. So obviously we've just rescheduled that, so we can see that this was when we originally thought it was going to happen, whereas this is when it happened. So we can use that as a bit of a lessons learned process and try and figure out where did we go wrong and what can we do next time around to try and resolve something. Now, we've also got the ability to look at the Gantt chart as a standalone tool. So rather than looking for one individual project, you can also have it open as a standalone page where you can view multiple projects. So you'll see here that I'm looking at multiple different projects in context of one another. So if I scroll down, you'll see I'm able to see everything. For example, this could be everything that I'm the project owner of, or everything relating to a particular customer or particular program. So obviously I get a lot of detail here, but what I can do is actually collapse that information. So if I just want to take a higher level look, I can collapse it once, and then I'm just looking at projects and milestones. Click it again, I'm now looking at projects. So I'm able to drill into or zoom out to as much information as I want to see. So if we think about logging progress on projects, there's a number of ways of doing that. So the timesheet is a principal way. So the timesheet loads up for an individual person for a particular week, lists everything that they've been assigned to work on, and we can log time across each day of the week. There's a few other features here like the calendar converter and the ability to approve time as well. If I jump over to the Kanban whiteboard, so this is a Kanban interface. It displays all of our actions as individual sticky notes, and we're able to drag and drop those to record progress. So for example, I could say, right, I'm now working on this, so I'm going to move that over into my in progress column. I could expand that and add in more detail. I can collaborate with colleagues on Chatter. I can tick off checklist items, access user stories, raise issues, and log time from here as well. Looking at my action pad, so this is a feature that gives me basically the same information as the Kanban whiteboard, but just in a different interface. So I get some summary charts at the top, and I've got this filtered down to show me anything that I'm responsible for that needs to be delivered by this week. So I'm really working on a to-do list of things that I'm responsible for. So if I scroll down, I can see the list of actions. I can open up this detail tab to access. So if I click onto any one of these individual actions, I can get through to the detail here. And what I'm also able to do is I can see who else is working with me. I can log time, I can raise issues, and I can tick off checklist items. So really just a great place for me to just spend some time. I could literally come in here as a resource that's working on numerous projects. I could be spending the whole day working here and just ticking off these items as and when I'm working through them. So we took a quick look at the risk log on the project overview, but you also have the ability to go to it as a standalone page as well. So what I'm looking at here is all of my high and medium probability risks across all different projects. So if I want to take a look at those, again, just able to scroll down and take a look at each one. And again, clicking on one, it's just going to populate the detail on the right there. Again, similar sort of concept. The issue log is accessible, so I could be monitoring issues across all different projects from that standalone issue log. And then from a resource capacity planning perspective, we have our scheduler. So the scheduler, if I scroll down, you'll see I have a row for each individual person. So scroll down, big long list of everyone on the team, and across the page, I'm looking at a timeline of probably 4 weeks here. Now I can use my settings here to actually go from anything from like 1 week right out to on my days view, I can go right out to 3 months, but on my weeks or my months view, I could go right out to a year. So ultimately, I can view a timeline from anything from 1 day right out to 12 months. Now, there's also a few other settings. So what this shows me is, what work has been assigned to each individual person. I can keep a track of how they've been allocated versus their overall capacity during this timeline. I can also jump into things like the hours total view, so if I'm not so much concerned about the individual actions, but I just want to look at the overall impact to that person's capacity. So I can see, obviously, for me, I'm over allocated next Monday. So I could look to potentially reschedule some of that for later in the week, or I could reassign it to some of my colleagues who have already got availability. And to make sure you've got you're reassigning work to the appropriate people, you can actually filter down and look for people. So you can look for people based on team membership. You can look for people with certain skills and even certain proficiency levels within those skills. So similarly to the scheduler, you can use a feature called the Resource Assignment Wizard to actually go and find the most appropriate people to work on a particular action. So I'm on a project here where I need someone to build this framework. So it's currently assigned to Blake, but Blake's just come and told me that he needs some additional resource to help him. So what I can do is actually jump into the Resource Assignment Wizard here. So this is a tool that lets you go and search for people. So I can see Blake's the action owner, but I need to bring in what we call contributors. So if I know who's going to do that work, I could just select them from the list here. Alternatively, I can go and search for them. So I know I'm looking for someone on the consultants team. I need to make sure that they've got this skill, and I need to know that they've got this skill. So I'm only going to want to look for people that have that criteria. So click on search. That goes away and looks at everyone on the system, and then it pulls back a list of people that match that criteria, and I can see their availability. So what I can do here is I can see Andrea's got plenty of time, so I can just drag Andrea over, drop her in there, and of Blake's 6 hours, I'm going to give Andrea 2. I might also give pull in Amy as well, so I can only have one action owner, but I can have multiple contributors. Okay, so click on save there, and then that will assign those additional resources to that action for me. And I just get confirmation there that that's now got contributors. If I hover over there, it'll show me who's actually working on it. Okay, so moving on to the meeting manager. So this is a great tool to let your teams come together and have like periodic discussions. So this is an example where I'm meeting with my product development team on a weekly basis. So down here, I can see the schedule of meetings that we've had or what's coming up. I can click onto one of those. I can see who attended, was there anyone that wasn't able to make it? And then I can click into the agenda and see what we talked about. So these were the various items that we had on our agenda. If I click into each one of those, I can see any notes of anything we spoke about. I can click in and see any resulting tasks that need to be followed up with individuals on the team as well. Great feature of this is we could have everyone in the meeting, we can actually quickly log time for using this component over here. So we can associate, so let's say we were talking about this, it might be related to a particular action on a project. So I can associate this discussion to that action and log time for everyone that was in the room at the time. So obviously we've got our resources and their logging time, and we want to know how well they're performing against the targets that we're setting. So the role utilization report gives us that information. So I've chosen to look at people on these two teams over this period, and I'm looking at weekly information. So if I scroll down, I can see who's been logging time. I can see what our target was, how many hours we've done, and then also from a billable perspective. So if I scroll down, I can see the hours that each individual person has logged. And then I can also, if I scroll down and take a look at this record, so what this is showing me is how many hours per week they're meant to work, how many hours they did work, whether that was billable, non-billable holidays. I get their overall utilization, but I also get insight into their billable performance as well. So quickly identifying, too much red or amber, we're going to be heading into a cash flow issue because we haven't been generating the level of billable performance that we needed in order to drive the revenue through the business. So the PMO dashboard, this gives you high-level insight into how your projects are performing to budget and schedule. So what I've done here is looked at information for 1 week, and I'm comparing it to another week. So my CPI is my cost performance index, tells me how I'm performing to budget, and my schedule performance index is telling me how I'm performing to the timeline. Now, if this is 1, I'm delivering perfectly to budget. Above 1, I'm doing even better. Below 1, not so good. So obviously it doesn't look great here, and it's comparing it to a couple of weeks ago, it's actually getting worse as well. So I really want to drill in and find out what's going on. So I can get down to the individual projects, click into the milestones, get down to the actions, and figure out who do we need to go and speak to get this stuff back on track. What we can also do is jump over to our revenue recognition and select a date period that we want to look at, and view the revenue recognition throughout that timeline. So we get a couple of charts here, just revenue recognition and profit and loss, and then scrolling down, we can see which projects we've been working on, and what this is showing us is the expected revenue recognition based on the duration of the project and the schedule that we've put in place. So what we can see here is the scheduled revenue, the actual, the earned value, and the projected. So you can look at this for a number of projects. You can also, if I jump back onto that project we were looking at earlier, you can also look at it from an individual project perspective on that project overview as well. So just exact same page, but I'm just looking at it for this one individual project here. Okay, so we're going finish off just looking at a few features relating to like larger phases of work. So the program planner allows you to keep a track of requirements and user stories. So this example here is I'm managing the roadmap of a software application. So each time we come up with a new idea that we want to add into the product, we create a card. So we create a new requirement. Now within each one of these requirements, we can create user stories as well. So if I click into there, so I can put in detail around the requirement, but I can also click through and see the user stories. So what this allows me to do is work through my backlog, priority backlog, and then assign specific requirements to individual projects. So these three columns here represent projects that sit underneath this program. So ultimately, this will be a set of features that we're delivering in this release, and this will be what we're doing in this one. Mentioned earlier, you can also access the storyboard as well. So if I just move over to my storyboard here, so I'm looking at the same program, and I've filtered this down to show me all of the user stories relating to anything to do with the Gantt chart. So I can reprioritize. So if I need this to be moved over here, I can drag that over, and that might be actually I'm now going to take this one and push that back to the next release. So I'm able to do it at a granular level, right down at that user story level. And then to convert those requirements over to actions on projects, we can use our project builder. So this is one project where I'm going to be releasing new features into my software application. I've got my various milestones created as sprints, and I can see some of the actions that have already been created. But if I open up my requirements, I can see anything that's already sitting there from that's been assigned from the program. So what I can do is just drag that over and drop that into a sprint where I think that's going to be getting delivered. Okay, thank you for your time. Obviously went through a fair bit relatively quickly. We do also have a deep dive video available on our website if you want to get into a bit more detail. We would also be more than happy to organize a call with you to answer any questions you've got. And key thing there to note is you're able to actually trial Mission Control. So you can install Mission Control into your own instance of Salesforce on a 14-day free trial. So you do that by going to the App Exchange, which you can get to via this link here. You simply click the green Get It Now button. That will install Mission Control on a 2-week trial. As I mentioned earlier, it's going to take about 2 minutes to install. You'll immediately receive a quick start guide, and you can be up and running in a matter of minutes. So you can install that into either your production or your sandbox org. As I say, we would be more than happy to get in touch and work through creating a sample project with you, providing you with a live demo. If you do want that demo, feel free to get in touch with us via that email address. And we also have a range of support resources, including user guides, knowledge base, learning portal, and a variety of how-to training videos. And any questions, obviously, you can get in touch with our support desk. I hope you like what you see, and any questions, please get in touch. Thanks.